Today we're looking at another great pocket operator feature. Freebeat. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Today's patron shout-out goes to Martin Krutoff. Thank you so very much for the support. Let's get started. So, like I said, today we're looking at yet another great pocket operator feature. Although I'm kind of hesitant to call this a feature, I guess. It's actually more of just the inherent nature of pocket operators. I think it's more like that. Let me step back a minute, though. Recently, I got Ableton Live Standard. I finally upgraded from Light to Standard after 3 years, and I have been loving it. I've been using it nonstop, basically. Anytime the camera's off, I've just been playing with it. And I'm noticing I'm starting to suffer from what I'm going to call DAW fatigue. Basically, Ableton Live Standard, you can do anything, whatever you want. You've got seemingly endless amounts of effects. You've got endless instruments, thanks to Simpler and all the hardware synths I have, and Analog Lab 5 software, and free stuff like Helm and Vital. Just endless options. And it can be pretty overwhelming. And I've noticed that I've started to get kind of lost in a lot of things that in the immediate time of songwriting don't matter. So I have found myself trying to get lost in EQing things properly. And then I'll go and research, something over there. And then I'll get overwhelmed and stressed out and move on to trying to find the perfect reverb or trying to get the automation lane exactly how I want it for some parameter that I'd never used until a couple weeks ago. And I started to realize that, and I stepped back and I said, okay, let's go ahead and start over. Not Control N, new project start over, but let's take it back to actually making some music. And what's the easiest way to do that? So I grabbed my PO20 arcade, I left the studio, and I sat on the couch and just played. I just banged out a melody, came up with a little bass drum line behind that melody, filled in the rest of the drums, filled in a bass line and a counter melody, and before I knew it, I had an awesome little song going. And that is the awesome pocket operator feature I want to talk about today. Yes, these are very limited devices, and that can hinder you, depending on what you're working on. But it can also be possibly the most inspiring thing out there. For, well, in this case, the PO20 is like $60, $70. You can have this awesome device that fits in the palm of your hand that ignores a lot of the, I'm not going to call it non-essential stuff, because, compression and EQ and all that stuff is essential in, full-blown music production, but it's not necessary to write music and come up with drum patterns and come up with melodies. Pocket operators have none of that extra stuff. They just force you to focus on what is important. Let's go ahead and just sequence something like that. Doom, doom, ga, goom, 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 ga. There we go. That sounds great and awesome. And all I had to do was think of a bass drum pattern, think of a snare drum pattern, and sequence them. We can even get a bass line going here. Da-da-da-da. Clearly, I already have a chord sequence chained that I did not remember chaining, but that's okay. If we don't like that chain, we can just come up with something new. Let's go A minor, and then I think that's G, back and forth. Yep. Just like that, I'm inspired to start working on a melody. It's that simple. Sometimes the best pocket operator feature is how they strip back all the extra stuff in music making in that process, and they force you to focus on what they can do, which is write drum parts and write melodies. Now, obviously, this is going to differ depending on what pocket operator you have. That's why I chose the arcade, because it's fairly well-rounded in this regard. But if you've got something like the PO12 Rhythm, focus on coming up with a new drum pattern, something that excites you, something that's different from what you'd normally do. Then, of course, when you are ready to reapproach your DAW, you can re-record it back into the DAW or recreate that pattern on one of your many different available drum sounds in the DAW. Let's come up with a melody here. Let's start on G. Let's go. So we'll go G, A, G, and then we'll throw this down to E. Actually, let's drop everything down an octave. Then we'll copy the whole pattern into another slot, and then we'll go G, A, G, A, C. Yeah, that's cool. We'll copy the first pattern again into slot 3. And then we'll copy the second pattern into slot 4. And let's come up with a resolution for this melody here. We'll go A. No, we'll go D. We'll go D, C, A, G. Here we go. Let's listen to what we have so far. Chain the first pattern, then the second pattern, then the third, and then the fourth. Nice. Now we can chain those first 3 patterns again. We will copy the last pattern, put it in this 5th slot, and come up with like a proper end of that pattern. We'll go, so D, C, A, G, E, and then here we'll go G, A, right here. Actually, we're going to go da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So this will then become D, C, A. There we go. Let's listen to our chain really quick here. Bring in the chords. Yeah, see what I mean? Just that quickly, we were able to come up with that awesome little jam, an awesome melody, and some inspiration to take back into the DAW, or to continue working with. Keep in mind, that only used 5 of our 16 patterns, and we hardly inserted very many elements into those patterns as was. So yeah, we can definitely take this further wherever we'd like, or we can just simply be happy and content with the fact that we came up with a drum part and a melody and a few little embellishments, you know, and just be good with that. So I do hope you found this video informative or at least entertaining. If you did, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can always leave a dislike. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you all so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.